Hi guys, welcome back. Queen Osset here. Today I am responding to days 9, 10, and 11 of Ethony's 31 Days of Tarot. So day 9 is my Tarot goals for 2018. I am going to work on honing my skill working with the Marseille deck. I'm using Tom Benjamin's workbook, and I'm going to choose a deck from one of my collection. And I recently found this deck at Books A Million for $7.99. It's based on Converse artwork. You can see here. It has sort of a beigey background. I think the artwork is very clear. And for an inexpensive deck, I can go ahead and make notes and not feel that I'm destroying a deck. And because it was so inexpensive, I went ahead and bought myself 2 copies. My next goal is, and this is just not a personal goal, but it's something that I like to do with my tarotistas. Every Tuesday we have a tarot share. It's a meet and greet, and we do things jointly together as a group. So one of the things that I'd like us to do in 2018 is to work through this book, Tarot in 78 Days. It begins with the Page of Pentacles, and it takes you on a journey through the entire tarot deck in less than 90 days. I think this is something I'd like us to begin around the spring equinox, I'm saying. That way it gives everyone enough time to get a copy of their book. Another goal of mine is to bring together all of these meetups that are in my area and create a conference in the area where I live. Currently, I live in the DMV area. And I know that we have the Reader's Studio in New York, and you have Newt's out on the West Coast. And I don't know if Bats is still in existence, but it'd be kind of nice to have something in my area that's not so almost out of reach like the Reader's Studio, or out of reach geographically for those of us on the East Coast. So it's just a lofty goal of mine. Maybe it's something that I can put together for just a weekend and just get a group of us together, a large group of us together, to sling cards and trade decks and talk books and just spend an entire weekend immersed in tarot. So that's day 9. Day 10 sees me looking at the decks that I'm going to work with the most. Hopefully, I'm going to incorporate these decks back into my practice for 2018. Since my card of the year is the Wheel, I figured why not work with my round decks. Let's see. I have Daughters of the Moon here. I haven't visited this deck in quite some time. It's a large deck. In my last post, I did introduce you to the Gorgon Tarot, so that's going to be in rotation this year. This is a deck that I truly love. I just, unfortunately, over the past couple of years have not worked with her. And of course, you know the old favorite that I have here, the Mother Piece in the orange box. You know this deck. Everyone's just about familiar with this round deck. So she's a standby. And as a matter of fact, I do have the playbooks and the other books that go along with this whole system. So that's something that I might take as part of my journey work for 2018. I also have a few oracle decks here. Let's see. This one, Oracle of the Dreamtime by Donnie Hackinson. And I was actually introduced to this deck by Katie Flowers. Aboriginal artwork. It's round. I went through it a little bit. I really enjoy the stories of how the artwork was comprised and developed. Glare there. the stories behind the imagery. So that's another deck that I'll be working with in 2018. And last but not least of my round deck, excuse me, is the Spirit de la Lune, for me to work with, really hone in and tap into the moon energies. I do work on the cyclical nature with the moon. I love this deck with the imagery on the back. But this year I think I'm going to delve a little bit deeper into the moon cycles and really tap into the energy that is available to me. As I said in one of my earlier videos, I feel more energized during the dark moon. But I think with this deck, I'll be able to understand a bit more how to work with the other moon's aspects. Okay, so those are my tarot decks for 2018 that I'm hoping, well, some of them anyway, hoping to delve into. That's just the start. I do have other decks that I'm going to bring on board in 2018. Of course, Tarot the Crone, the Caminette deck, and of course, oh, I did forget a deck that we're going to rekindle our love affair, I should say. I was introduced to this deck, I would say about 1994. I have several versions of this deck, and you know, we've had an on again, off again love affair, and I think 2018 is about to be on the Thoth deck, Thoth deck, as Diane Jarecki likes to say. I recently had it trimmed, and it's like, wow, you know, really been revived in my eyes. I'm seeing my ex-love through new eyes. So yes, I'm looking forward to rekindling this love affair. Okay. Now, on to the oracle decks that I'll be using in 2018. I'm feeling a pull towards Egyptology. I don't know. This is where I am right now on this date that as I'm making this recording. It could change as we get later on into the year. But I do have this deck, which is Oracle of the Pharaohs. And it's a system that's not, I think it's going to be a bit challenging for us to work with. Let's see. It doesn't seem to be like your typical oracle deck. I'm not really sure it's a system I'm going to sit down and learn a bit more about, simply because the language is a bit different. The keywords are not as simple in connection with the imagery, so I'm ready for Tahuti to give me a bit of education. Speaking of Tahuti, I have another oracle deck I'm going to work with, and this is the Anubis Oracle. This 2018, I think I'm going to do a bit more shadow work, a bit more delving into the underworld, actually. Considering I'm riding the top of the wheel, so let the wheel continue to rotate, and hopefully as I delve into the underworld, I can pull up some more additional information and secrets and additional information that I need to become a better person. So the Anubis Oracle looks like that, and I'm curious to know, anyone's experience in regards to using this deck, how it has worked out for them. Another deck that I will be working with that's also Egyptian based is the Osset Oracle. Osset Egyptian Oracle cards. This is a deck that I wavered back and forth getting. I'm not really sure. It came from Australia. It was, you know, shipping from Australia is ridiculous. But I did a couple of pulls a few months ago in my tarot share, and the messages were really on point. So this is a deck that I want to continue to work with in 2018. Now I do have two more other oracle decks that I'm going to work with that seem to be a bit out of the ordinary or a bit different than those that I just spoke with. And the other one here, if I can get the top off, is this one, the Fairy Enchantments. I bought it. I never really worked with it that much. It's a gorgeous deck. I know Kelly from Truth and Story uses it to set intentions. Blossom Faye has worked with this deck. See that rose gold? I'm a sucker for the gilding. That's why I bought it, really. That's why I bought the second copy of the Beautiful Creatures Tarot deck too, for that purple metallic gilding on the side. But I really feel pulled to working with the Fae. I'm going to be reconnecting with my Brian Froud deck as well. Now, if anyone can tell me if they know anything in regards to the grimoire that Ian Daniels was creating, according to his page, that grimoire should have been shipped out in November. I've contacted Ian Daniels, I've emailed, I've contacted or reached out via Facebook, and I have yet to get a response. I have paid for the book, and I'd like to know one way or the other if I'm going to get this gorgeous piece of artwork that we've been waiting for. I do understand that things take time, but communication is key in regards to many things, especially when people are spending their money. And another deck that I feel I want to work with is, actually it's two parts, and it's The Well-Worn Path and The Hidden Path by Raven Grimassi and Stephanie Taylor. I met this lovely couple, oh my gosh, I can't even tell you how many years ago. They did inscribe my book here. When they came to the area, came to the store actually to visit. And I worked with this deck when I was investigating, I guess you could say a Wiccan path. I'm not Wiccan. I've studied Wicca. I know many people who are Wiccan. That, of course, is not my path that holds a lot of interest to me. It's not the path per se that interests me. It's the people who are walking this path. And there are just certain aspects of it that I find pulled towards. But this deck takes you a little further down into the old ways. It's a deck that I've had in my collection for quite some time. It's two parts, and I think I'm going to investigate it, or I should say try to reconnect with it again this year, and we'll see how this relationship develops, and that's my marker to separate the two decks. If the connection cannot be made, I just may have to let her go. We'll see. And that, my friends, is my response to days 9, 10, and 11. And I shall see you next time. Stay blessed.